job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to fall. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you 'cause you're there for me too. You're still in bed at 10 and work again at 8. You burned your breakfast so far, things are going great. Your mother warned you there'd be days like these, but she didn't tell you when the world was brought you down to your knees. And I'll be there for you when the rain starts to fall. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you 'cause you're there for me too. No one could ever know me, no one could ever see me. Seems you're the only one who knows what it's like to be me. Someone to face the day with, make it through all the rest with. Someone I always laugh with, even at my worst, my best with you. Yeah.
Speaker tonight. Bob would like to field your suggestions for a quotation that he will build his speech around, and he'll interpret it to you, and he'll illustrate it to you, and he'll do it with hopefully the usual style and wit we've come to expect from him. So a quotation, a proverb, a song lyric, words of wisdom you live by. Who's got one? Yeah, you're hitting him, so he's obviously got something witty. But
it's always bigger in Texas.
It's always bigger in Texas. Okay. This was the family-friendly night, right? Okay.
Not anymore.
Okay, Bob, you're going with that?
Sure.
Or would you like to hear other options? Usually they get three options.
I'm good with that one.
Okay, they usually get three options. All right. I will start the time, and every 30 seconds I will be calling out his time. And then when he gets up to speak, I'll be showing him hand signals. 5, 4, 3, 2, well, something like that. 1. That's 30 seconds, 15 seconds left, and then the last 5 seconds I'll show him.
Good?
Mm-hmm. I start the clock, so you're good.
After a dismal 2012 season, the Houston Astros decided to switch conferences, moving to the American Baseball League when they had previously been the Nationals, after finishing the bottom of the National League Central. This leads us to today's quotation: "It's always bigger in Texas," which we can interpret to mean it's smaller elsewhere. But we can absolutely agree. We can absolutely disagree with this quotation for two areas of analysis. That 1, the world is bigger than we think it is, and 2, those who understand this succeed. But let's take a look at how the world is bigger than we think it is. We'll examine this through 2 examples. The first being comedian Tig Notaro, and the second Robert Kearns. But first, let's examine Tig Notaro. Tig Notaro was a comedian in Los Angeles who was successful in her own right, doing her own little thing. Now, what made Tig Notaro special was that she was hilarious, but later in her life, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Her mom died, and then she contracted pneumonia all within a short time period. Now, Tig Notaro was able to use this, and she was able to build upon this. Even though it looks like her world was really small, it was caving on her, she was able to expand it, and she was able to use these things to expand her comedy routine and to make it better than ever, and what the New York Times calls groundbreaking. We can also see this through the example of Robert Kearns. Robert Kearns was a businessman in 1967 in Detroit, who was credited with one simple invention, the self-automating windshield wiper. handy because I'm sure all of you use it today because it happens to be raining in Chicago and it sucks. But what happened, especially what Robert Kearns invention, is when he tried to sell it to the Ford Motor Company, they shoot him away, saying his invention will never work. However, he decided that that's too small of a box to put him in, and he decided to expand and to try to go out there and to use what was rightfully his and the money that he rightfully deserved. He sued Ford Motor Company and spent the next 4 decades in litigation against them, trying against one of the largest corporations, one of the largest litigation teams in the nation, and he eventually won, proving through Robert Kearns and taking care how the world is more than we think it is. Now let's move on to our second area of analysis, that those who understand this succeed. We can see this through 2 examples. The first, Willis Haviland Carrier, and the second, Gideon Sundbeck. But first, let's examine Willis Haviland Carrier. Willis Haviland Carrier is the father of modern day air conditioning. Thank God. Even though not right now, because as I mentioned earlier, it's freezing cold out. But what Willis Haviland Carrier did was that he saw an opportunity, and he went for it with his air conditioning. Now, it's an odd time to start up a company, because when he did so, it was the Great Depression. He was in the middle of the 1930s when he was doing this. Now, he was able to persevere, and he was able to understand that though the world may not have the greatest market yet, he had a great idea, and that throwing this to a bigger audience and being able to do something that everyone will love, he was able to succeed in his own right. Now, we can also see this through our final example of Gideon Sundbeck. Gideon Sundbeck, much like Willis Haviland Carrier, is credited with one simple invention. Though not as cool as Carrier's, his invention is the zipper. The zipper was invented for a friend who had chronic arthritis and wasn't able to bend down to tie up the shoe. Now, what Gideon Sundbeck did was he saw this, and he saw this as an opportunity to expand. And he saw this as an opportunity, though he never directly profited off it, he saw this as an opportunity to change his friend's life. So what you do with the zipper, with his rudimentary zipper, is it lets you down your shoe, and you just take a stick and you pull it up. Let you onto the zipper and you pull it up. This was a groundbreaking invention, and it helped his friend out tremendously in that area. So we can see through Gideon Sundbeck, as well as Willis Haviland Carrier, of those who understand this succeed. Now, when we return to today's original quotation, it's always bigger in Texas, we can interpret this to mean it's always smaller elsewhere, which we disagreed with. For 2 areas of analysis, that 1, the world is bigger than we think it is, and 2, those who understand this succeed. Now, when we turn to our original example of the Houston Astros, we can see how their world was getting smaller. They were being crushed by such National League Central Division rivals, such as the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers, and not the Cubs, they're not that good. But still, the point still stands. Their world was getting smaller. They couldn't really compete in that division. So what did they do? They jumped ship, and they made their world bigger and tried to expand it. Even though they're still staying in Texas, they're trying to expand through the American League.
Okay, and next up we'll hear Jake Seeley in his speech of the day.
So a friend of mine's a journalist, aspiring journalist. He hates it when I call him that. And he gets a lot of the stories that a lot of the other writers, the ones that actually get paid for their stuff, don't want to do because it's really asinine. Like this story, for example. He had to write a story about this guy who jumped off the roof of his house in a Batman suit, on fire, trying to jump into a cup of water. I know, stupid, right? Besides asking him questions like, are you dumb? And is there a brain in that head? Batman, in his drug stupor, responded in only one word. YOLO. Adam Zimmer writes in the August 26, 2012 Boston Globe that YOLO, a new word for some of you, may be a carefree tag to explain an impulsive choice. It's like Carpe Diem, which means seize the day, has been taken to a lower level thanks to the phrase YOLO, which is an acronym for you only live once. Unless you're a cat. Or a Buddhist monk. In those rare cases, a cat that was once a Buddhist monk. Or a monk that was a cat that was another monk. Mind blown. The phrase YOLO is about taking a chance on something that you would normally never do, like skydiving, bungee jumping, or smoking during your speech. What? It's fake. You think I'm smoking for the kids? Bad influence. But according to Emily Payne of the September 10, 2012 Wall Street Journal, the underlying message of YOLO is no longer used in a positive connotation. According to Payne, when YOLO shows up on a tweet on Twitter or on a post on Facebook or Tumblr, it's usually used in the context of some inappropriate or illegal behavior. September 8, 2012, for example, Flavor Flav, you all know who he is, made this tweet saying, "Spending time chilling in the hot tub filled with Pepto-Bismol, smoking crack. Hashtag YOLO, hashtag yeah, boy." I don't know what's worse, the fact that he's mixing Pepto-Bismol with his crack, or the fact that Flavor Flav tweets anyway. As we can clearly see, the meaning of the phrase "you only live once" has changed, allowing what should be an age of growth to be stunted by the catchphrase YOLO. You would laugh at that. That was a short joke. I guess you did laugh, didn't you? I cried. So now, we're going to go ahead, and before we get to the height of things and explain further the YOLO mantra, you would laugh at that, jerk. Let's go ahead and try this Twitter thing out and tweet some problems to you. Twits? Nah. Then we're going to go ahead and update our status with some causes before finally tumblelogging some solutions. Just kidding, no one uses Tumblr. Let's go ahead and tweet out the problems by first talking about how social media has changed and exploited the phrase, and how YOLO literally had the last word. The new meaning of YOLO became popular in the 2012 version of the song The Model, written by Drake, also known by his given name, Aubrey Graham, because, fun fact, you guys, rappers actually have those. According to Graham, now she wants a photo. You already know that. You only live once. That's the motto. YOLO. I don't know about you guys, but that is art! Thanks to Graham's redefinition of YOLO, we now use it as a way to abdicate responsibility. And Twitter has been a frontrunner for all of this. According to Web Trends and About.com in January 2013, hashtag YOLO was one of the more popular hashtags used in 2013. Rapper Inky, also known by his given name, Irvin McInnes, you see what I'm saying, all of them have him, made some tweets that scared a lot of his fans and Twitter users alike. Let me pull them up here. First tweeting, "Drunk as going 120 drifting corners, hashtag YOLO." Following that tweet with driving, tweeting, sipping the cup, YOLO. I'm turning it up! Which followed by news that he and the 4 friends in the SUV they were driving in had crashed into a wall. All 5 men were either dead on impact or shortly thereafter. They really did only live once. You know, I think Inky forgot that YODO was another acronym he should have remembered. You only die once. I thought that came with the bundle, you know? Thanks to Inky's behavior, we now see that with a certain type of encouragement, we see the YOLO mentality as a way to embrace a fatalistic viewpoint because, well, you only live once, right? Unless you're this guy's ex-girlfriend, in which case you don't live at all. Oh, let's go ahead and update our status with some causes by first talking about peer pressure and then how YOLO, the whole teenage fatalism, we're going to see how that exactly tie in. The whole YOLO craze we all know and love results from the fact that we as young adults, some of us as young adults, want to be problem-free. Some of us like to have fun on the weekend. Some of us come to speech showcases. I'm just saying, there's a Bulls game on right now. You could be at home, drinking beer, watching that. You didn't have to be here. The whole deal with that, another problem with this is the peer pressure that comes along with it. Say you did something crazy like, I don't know, join speech team, and your buddy comes up to you before you're around like, "Hey bro, we're gonna get real drunk before you're around, man. And then, we're gonna make fun of the judge, and then we're gonna burn the ballot so Bonnie doesn't see him. It's gonna be sweet." You respond with, "No." And then I come back at you with, "But bro, you only live once." What do you say to that? I got exactly what to say. YOLO, say no. Isolate yourself and just roll solo. That's sound advice coming from the Lonely Island, the guys that put their dicks in boxes. Absence of belief in the future, or teenage fatalism, is another problem with this craze. This was the November 10th, 2011 Huffington Post reports. Based on a study of 20,000 teens that spanned over 7 years, it was found that 15% of those teens felt it highly likely they were going to live until their 31st birthday. Coincidentally, those teens that believed that they were going to die young were more likely to engage in unsafe behaviors such as drug or alcohol abuse, or participating in unsafe sex, which would lead to teenage pregnancy or contracting HIV. So whether it be a serious situation like teenage pregnancy, coming this fall on MTV, 13 and pregnant. Oh man. Yeah, I'd watch it. YOLO has been a way to abdicate responsibility. Now, we've gone ahead and updated our status with those causes. Let's go ahead and grin and bear it as we learn to tumble log so we can get those solutions out of the way. We're going to learn when no means no. Then we're going to talk about how better role models can help. And then we're also going to talk about how exactly to properly use the social media. The solution to YOLO? It's simple. We stop using it. Or we give it to Katie Couric. If she's using internet lingo, it's going to be dead within the month. And if you're still using YOLO at the end of the speech, YOLO! You ought to live once! Finding better role models can be a great solution to your whole YOLO craze. Sure, Drake can be considered a legend. Thanks, Bonnie, for those interp events. I said that almost with a straight face. I got a little kick out of that myself. But what about guys like Jay-Z or Magic Johnson, who don't lead by their exploits, but lead by examples? Jay-Z went from being a full-time gangster rapper to being a multi-million-dollar CEO of his own record label and clothing line. Add marrying Beyonce to that mix, and he's living the American dream. And Magic Johnson, who, after he was diagnosed with HIV, he had retired from his basketball career and went on to invest into many different ventures that were not only successful, but also positive and charitable toward many communities. Finding a sense of purpose in life can also be a great solution, coming to the fact that living forever and immortality are two different things in terms of actions. I'm sorry, miss. Did I blow your mind? I'm sorry. I'll just go back to the speech. Living forever can mean leaving a legacy that people can marvel at and cherish upon, while immortality can mean getting older. Disgusting. That bag needs to go, Bonnie. Sorry. It needed to be said. And finally, if you're one of those people that use YOLO and share photos on the internet, instead of your YOLO exploits, I don't know, how about share photos of like cat pictures instead? Cats on the internet practically invented the internet. You know what I'm talking about. Like the shirt. Now there's cats all over the internet. And cougars too. Rare. So in conclusion, I've talked to you today about how you only live once became a positive way of looking at life to becoming a negative abdication of responsibility in YOLO. We tweeted out the problems, we updated our status with causes, and then we went ahead, learned how to tumble log so we can get the solutions. Now finally, we can go back and live our boring, uneventful lives. But I guess that's the way it should be, right? By the way, I'm not all for living life, I'm all for living life to the fullest. Life wouldn't be as fun without taking a few chances. But if you're one of those people that use YOLO, once, twice, 55 times a day, cut it out. I hope you use YOLO for what it truly means. Living life to the fullest and leaving your mark in the world. Actress Mae West said it the best. You only live once, but if you do it just right, once is enough. You believed it again, didn't you?
Or platform events. Now we're going to do our performance-based events. We call it performance of literature, or also the classic term is oral interpretation. What you'll notice is a difference in theater, whereas in theater, characters that are interacting look at each other and they pretend you're not there. There's what we call a fourth wall convention, and the audience is just kind of eavesdropping in, and they're up here ignoring the reality of the audience. In our interpretation events, we actually deliberately try to open up and share our world of the literature with the audience. The performers will be coming up and they'll have black binders that contain the presence of the literature. It's a symbolic presence because they're memorized, right? Okay, they're memorized in their events, so it's a symbolic reminder of the presence of the literature and that they will be directly trying to share it, engage you with the experience. Some of the performers will be characters delivering monologues, others will be narrators telling stories, and then we'll actually have two characters that will be up here side by side, interacting not to each other, but as if they see each other in this offstage focal point. Anybody that likes their CGI, we know that there's the green screen phenomenon, and it's that visualizing something that isn't there. And by them standing next to each other, it allows a tight frame for you as the audience to be able to see both faces at the same time and be intimately engaged in the world that's going on behind their eyes and through their faces. All right, so at this point, I would like to turn it over. Oh, one quick little program note. We have a slight change in the program. Devin Lasker was scheduled to perform The Great Zucchini. Instead, Devin will be performing from the play After Juliet. So please welcome Devin Lasker.
My trucks are quick. Lost with a kiss. I die. I woke up feeling like I was floating. The poison didn't work. Deep sleep is not death. What I wanted was death. Juliet? Oh, my sweet Juliet, please. What have you done? What have I done? Please do not take her from me. Ignore me not! This feels all wrong. This is not how it's written.
According to psychologist James Alcott, magical thinking is the process by which individuals explore what is thinking in the world. Those who practice magical thinking seek to suspend reality and literally believe impossible into possible. Playwright Ben Roberts takes this approach with the classic tragedy Romeo and Juliet, extending conventional fiction past the realms of its original intent. Exploring What If? After Juliet by Ben Roberts.
I left Verona with the ghost of my love on my back. I remember walking the cobblestone roads of Verona in the middle of the night, but I traded them for the bright paved streets of New York.
I spent so much of my time alone, just a little quiz? Talking to myself. Time passes, I meet people, they come and go, I change. But one thing remains. Memory of her. I remember the first time I saw her. Did my heart love till now? For swear it's sight, for I never saw true beauty till this night. I go to clubs and bars and I scan the room for her face, her smile, her light. She's never there, so I settle. For girls in micro skirts and high heels, girls who laugh at my jokes and cry when I tell them the story of my best friend's death. Oh, you poor baby, to see Mercutio.
Right. To see him die right in front of you. Oh, you poor baby.
I sleep with them to fill the hole in my heart. Although it never works. I fall asleep with the girl in my bed and I dream of Juliet. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. Rome? Why are you talking so funny? What? Nothing, I'm just go back to bed. Actually, I think I'm gonna go. Even better. I spend most of my time at the bar down the street from my apartment. A place called Happiness. I'm there telling this girl about my wonderful dead girlfriend because that usually gets me, you know, laid. And then she says,
Oh my God, like star-crossed lovers.
Star what?
You know, like Romeo and Juliet. Oh, it sounds exactly like Romeo and Juliet.
Wait. You know Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet is only the greatest love story of all time. Haven't you ever read the play?
I leap from my seat and I run from the bar. I find a little bookstore that's still open. I need a copy of the play Romeo and Juliet. Not Romeo, Romeo and Juliet.
We're categorized by last name of author, so go to the S's and look for Shakespeare.
Who's Shakespeare?
She gives me this look that all you women have, like, programmed into your faces. It's incredible, really. Funny. S's are that way.
I find Romeo and Juliet. The cover has a picture in front of two disgustingly beautiful young people. I can't believe how much it looks like Juliet and me.
We're closing soon, so
This is my story. I mean, it's mine.
sure, for $7.95.
I walk home. My head's stuck in the story of my love life. By the time I get to my apartment, I'm almost finished, and it's so accurate up until. I was supposed to die. I knew. Mark, open up, please! I pound on the door of my next door neighbor, Rome. Mark, listen to me. I'm supposed to die. I'm not supposed to live without her. I knew I was supposed to die. Rome, just stop. Shut up and listen to me for a sec. I know I don't know the whole story, but from what I do know, I can tell you loved each other, and I think she wants you to live. She wants you to live your life, Rome. So go live your life. Stop being such a girl. Look, Rome. She's everywhere you are. She's the stars, the sky. She's the sun. What did you say? She's the sun. Yes. I'm going back to Hamlet. I set the bar, my own story in front of me. The words are mine. The hurt is mine.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied? Devin is so gladly from thy breath that had no power yet upon thy beauty.
I sit there for an hour, speaking old words aloud, being emu? No, emo. Yes, emo! Everyone leaves me alone. Only the bartender talks, and that's only to ask, hey, buddy, you know the drink. Tempt not a desperate man. And the guy next to me puts down his drink. You've been quoting Romeo and Juliet all night, and I was wondering if you'd be interested in performing Romeo and Juliet. Suddenly, it's opening night. I'm playing the role, well, myself. And my Juliet is played by a girl named Janet. She lets me call her Jules. She's beautiful. She's funny and sweet and reminds me so much of Juliet. She tells me that her favorite part of the show is the balcony scene. It is the east, and Juliet's the sun. But I don't tell her my favorite part, because my favorite part comes at the end of the show, when the curtains close and I open my eyes and I look at her, lying still on our deathbed. And then she gets up.
When I say that Lisa was someone special, I expect that you will smile. All mothers think their children are special. And when I tell you that my husband died, you will quite understandably suspect me of exaggeration. And I don't blame you. But I must insist, Lisa was special. And this is her story. It won't take long. She was only 8 when she died. I feel bound to tell her story because I want you to know as well as I do now that death is not the end. Thousands of years ago, Aristotle described music as the force that purifies the emotions, and today it is widely accepted that music is therapeutic. In Helen Cresswell's short story, a grieving wife and mother finds that the only legacy she is left with is the beauty, power, and mystery of music. A Kind of Swan Song by Helen Cresswell. At birth, Lisa was special to Peter and myself in the same way any other baby was. Although there was an extra dimension to our joy, since we already knew that Peter had a few months left at most. He would play music to her for hours on end, and he would say, "That baby may not be able to talk yet, but she is listening." I don't want to give the impression by this that we were too serious or that Lisa had a strange start in life. But I do believe that the times she loved best was when she was listening to music. It is a strange thing for a woman to watch her child blossom, and on the other hand, her husband fade. Peter refused to let me grieve openly. Let her be shaped by music, not by sorrow, he would tell me. Promise me to keep playing her music. And of course I promised. In those unreal, nightmarish days, it was as if Lisa were mourning too. I was suddenly aware of a great silence and absence. I went and put on a record, one of his favorites. Then I heard another voice. Lisa was singing. Some children walk before they talk, and some the other way around, but Lisa, I swear, sang before she did either. Genius is not an easy word to come to terms with. All mothers believe their children are special, but I do not believe that all mothers are looking for genius. It's a rather frightening thing. At 2, she could pick out tunes on the piano, and at 3, she could play both the piano and the violin, but it was the singing that mattered. I knew that. At 4, photographs of her were already beginning to appear in the papers. Child prodigy was premiere board at festival. At 5, all kinds of renowned people began to visit us. Soon, I thought, they'll want to take her away from me. Lisa herself began to go away from me, not in the things that mattered. In those things, you're always very close. We would tease each other, and even then, it would seem as if she were older than I was. "Dear goose mother," she would say if I forgot something or made a mistake. It became her pet name. At 6, they tried to take her away to a new school. "It's too soon," I told them. "She's too young." I could sense a sadness in her, a disappointment. So when they came again to take her away, I gave in. Before she left, we recorded her playing the piano and the violin, but it was the singing that mattered. We both knew that. She was only 7 when she left for her new school. "Don't cry, goose mother, we'll write to each other. And send me tapes. Please, Lisa, don't let even a single song you make get away. Put it on tape and that way we'll have it forever." She smiled. "It's making the music that counts, goose mother. Nothing gets away, ever." Most evenings, I would sit there and listen to the tapes we had made that summer, and by mid-December, she was home, and it was as if she never even left. One evening, we turned on the television to see a program of carols composed by children. It was a contest, and these were the winning entries. When it was over, Lisa said quietly, "Next year, goose mother, I shall make my own carol." Christmas and New Year's came and went. Lisa's letters came every week, badly spelled and full of the things that she was doing, the music she was making. It was sometimes hard to remember she was still only 8 years old. Now she's beginning to write her own words to the music. One day I received a tape, and on it was a song called Goose Mother, and I felt so happy and so honored that I actually taped it again onto another cassette for fear that it might get lost or damaged. In November, Lisa surprised me by calling. "I've made a carol." "A carol? Remember that competition we saw? And listen, Davey's going home for the weekend, and I can go with him. So you and I can record it together, on our own piano." "That's wonderful, darling. I'll be home Friday, around 6. By 5:30 on Friday, I was fidgeting in the kitchen. And at 5:45, I remembered I hadn't fizzy lemonade, her favorite drink. "I'll write a note," I thought, "and I'll put it to the door. I'll only be 5 minutes." When I arrived back, it was 6:15, and there was a car on the spot my car had occupied. It was a police car. 2 figures were standing at the front steps. I was telling myself to keep calm. "Mrs. Vinner?
Please.
Perhaps we can..." Somehow, I was inside, sitting in my usual chair. A sympathetic voice was talking to me. Motorway, wet surface. The words washed over me. What they were saying, they were trying to tell me was that Lisa was dead. The woman made me a cup of tea, and they stood staring at me. They didn't know what to say. They went, and I was alone. I sat there for I don't know how long. After a long dark age, I got up. Mechanically, I began turning things up, locking up for the night. Front door, the back, the light. I stopped. All the lights were out but one. There, glowing in the darkness, were the red and green lights of the cassette recorder. My mind was dense, confused. I had set up the system that very afternoon, all ready to record the carol. The blank cassette was in place, and I'd carefully checked the song levels. And then I switched it off. I remember doing it. I pressed play. The room filled with the noise. Lisa's voice, pure and sweet singing. There was no accompaniment, no piano, just that miraculous voice. Only I knew that the carol had been recorded not before, but after the accident.
Put your hand on your ribs. Deeper. Good. Breathe. How does that feel?
Like I'm full of hot air.
Isn't that what public speaking is all about? For today I want to start by loosening the jaw. Good morning, Bertie. We'll begin by doing little bounces. Make sure you relax your shoulders. There you are, come in. Now repeat after me. Jack and Jill
Jack and Jill
went up the hill.
went up the hill.
Good. Now, together. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Are you ready? I am a thistle sifter. I have a sieve of sifted thistles and a sieve of unsifted thistles, because I am a thistle sifter.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is BBC Radio. In just a few moments, His Majesty will speak.
Forget everything else and just say it to me. Say it to me as a friend. As Winston Churchill once said, courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen.
According to the British Stammers Association, 1 in every 100 people stammer, causing fear and panic when forced to speak.
In pre-war England, the power of the radio was at its zenith, and the world needed to hear reassurances that evil could be defeated, and peace would prevail. Those reassurances could only come from the king.
But how does one tell a king he must
Listen.
before he can speak?
David Seidler's screenplay chronicles the inverse relationship between a would-be king and the man who commands him to listen.
Allowing us to consider the value of voice and its power and to our own purpose.
The King's Speech.
By David Seidler. In this grave hour, perhaps the most fateful in our history, I send to every household of our peoples, both at home and overseas, this message spoken with the same depth of feeling for each one of you, as if I were able to cross your threshold and speak to you myself.
Why are you here?
Because I bloody well stammer!
When did the defect start?
4 or 5.
That's typical.
So I've been told. I can't remember not doing it.
How about when you talk to yourself? Everyone matters occasionally, Bertie.
Don't call me that!
I'm not going to call you anything else. So, Bertie, when you talk to yourself, do you stammer?
Of course not!
Thus proving your impediment isn't a permanent part of you. But what do you think was the cause?
I don't know, I don't care. Stammer! And no one can fix it. For the second time in the lives of most of us, we are at war. Over and over again, we have tried to find a peaceful way out of the differences between ourselves and those who are now our enemies. But it has been in vain. We have been forced into a conflict.
What is it about David that stops you speaking?
What the bloody hell is it makes you bloody well want to go on about David?
Vulgar but fluent. You don't stammer when you swear.
Bugger off!
Is that the best you can do?
Crack! Crack, 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 crack!
See how defecation flows trippingly from the tongue?
Because I'm angry!
Ah. Know the F word?
On occasion.
Bertie.
Frack. Frack, 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 frackity, frack, frack.
Yes, I see, not a hesitation.
But, and boobs!
Well, that's a side of you we don't get to see that often. What's wrong?
My brother's infatuated with a woman who's been married twice.
Can he do that?
Absolutely not. He's going to anyway. All hell's broken loose.
Where does that leave you?
I know my place. I'll do anything within my power to keep my brother on the throne.
Has it come to that? But the way things are going, your place may be on the throne.
Don't take liberties, that's bordering on treason.
I'm just saying, you could be king, you could do it.
That is treason!
I'm trying to get you to realize you need not be governed by fear.
I've had enough of this.
What are you afraid of?
For we have been called, with our allies, to meet the challenge of a principle which, if were to prevail, would be fatal to any civilized order in the world. Such a principle stripped of all mere disguise is surely the mere primitive doctrine that might is right, for the sake of all that we ourselves hold dear, and of the world's peace and order. It is unthinkable that we should refuse to meet the challenge.
I'm a thistle sifter, I'm a thistle sifter, I'm a thistle sifter. Let's get cracking.
I'm not here to rehearse Dr. Logue. True. You never called yourself doctor. I did that for you. No diploma, no training, no qualifications, just great deal of nerve.
It's true, I'm not a doctor. I taught elocution in schools. When the Great War came, our boys were pouring back from the front, shell-shocked and unable to speak. Somebody said to me, Lionel, you're very good with all this speech stuff. Do you think you could possibly help these poor buggers? I did muscle therapy, exercise, relaxation, but I knew I had to go deeper. Those poor young blokes had cried out in fear, and no one was listening to them. My job was to give them faith in their voice and to let them know that a friend was listening. And mustering a few bells with you, Bertie.
You give a very noble account of yourself.
Lock me in the tower.
I would if I could.
On what charge?
Fraud. Before when you sat in this nation before this came. Opening like in George III. Believe. Making George Stagger. Let these people down so badly. What are you doing? Get up, you can't. Get up!
Why not? It's a chair.
St. Edward's chair.
People have carved their names
It was
into it.
everything in Plymouth.
taking place by
It's the
law.
start school. You trivialize. You
I don't
trivialize.
care. I don't care.
Listen to me!
Listen to you, by what right?
Divine right, if you must, I'm your king.
No, you're not. Told me so yourself. Said you didn't want it. So why should I waste my time listening to you?
Because I have a right to be heard.
Heard as what?
A man, I have a voice!
Yes, you do. You have such perseverance, Bertie. You're the bravest man I know. You'll make a bloody good king.
It is to this high purpose that I now call my people at home, and my peoples across the sea, who will make our cause their own. I ask them to stand calm and firm and united in this time of trial.
Bertie, you can do it.
The task will be hard.
You need not be governed by fear.
There may be dark days ahead,
Your place is on the throne.
but we can only do the right as we see the right. If one and all we keep resolutely faithful, then with God's help we shall prevail.
Your first wartime speech. Congratulations.
Expect I shall have a great deal more. Thank you, Locke. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Good evening. I have cancer. Hi, how you doing? Having a good time? I have cancer. Is everyone enjoying themselves tonight? Feels good. just diagnosed with cancer. Here, let me tell you guys what happened. I'm gonna get a little personal with you guys. Found a lump. Guys, relax. I have cancer. So I went to the hospital, you know, I saw the doctor, and then the doctor was like, oh, we found a lump. I was like, oh, no, that's my boob. He's like, oh, no, we found one on the other side, too. Oh, no, I've got one over there, too. Those are my boobs. Aw, somebody over here keeps going, aw, I think she might really have cancer. It's okay, it's going to be okay. It might not be okay, but I'm just, you're gonna be fine. I really don't know what's going on with you, but you'll be okay. And guys, just so you know, in the equation of humor, it's tragedy plus time equals comedy. And well, I'm just a tragedy right now. That's just where I am in the equation. Charlie Chaplin once said, life is a tragedy when seen up close, but a comedy in the long shot. And what the New Yorker called a groundbreaking night of comedy, Tig Notaro abandoned professional comics' approach at well-honed humor, and instead dug deep and shared with the audience a piece that was much closer to a diary entry. Real, raw, and remarkably honest. Defying all conventional theories and so-called comedy equations, Notaro's monologue shows us that shared human experience in any form, on any subject, in any venue, proves that comedy is greater than tragedy. Live by Tig Notaro. So basically, after I'd seen the doctor, and he was like, you know, you probably have it, I was walking home, and then this man, he was staring very closely at my face. And then all of a sudden, he was just like, sir! And you know, usually I have a sense of humor about that. But after the news I had just gotten that I probably have breast cancer, and this man is just like, sir, I was just like, I just got diagnosed with breast cancer, in both breasts! That is how much I am not a man. Like I know men can get it, but just not today, you know? Now, if I have a double mastectomy, maybe 6 months from now I will answer to sir. But not today. So what's weird is that having this diagnosis is just such a weird time in my life because everything has always gone pretty okay, you know? And then it just kind of turned. Like the good Lord giveth and the good Lord taketh away. And sometimes the good Lord just keeps on taking it. Or I was thinking tit for tat. So I went to the hospital again and I got another biopsy. I'm standing with my shirt off and the technician looks at me and she's like, oh my God, you have such a flat stomach. What is your secret? And I was like, oh, I'm dying. And guys, please just bear with me because when I have a show, I don't feel like I can talk about how funny it was that a bee was taking the 405. Like all the jokes I've written, I can't bring myself to talk about them because, and everyone, relax, my mother just died. Should I leave? She just died tragically too. She was 65, hit her head and died. I can't believe you guys are taking it so hard. You didn't even know her. I'm doing okay. So basically the events are I got pneumonia, then I was in the hospital, then a week after I got out of the hospital, my mom died. And then, I know, hilarious. And then I went through a breakup. Right in the middle of it all. It's tough time, Joe. Gotta get out before the cancer comes. So yeah, basically pneumonia turned into my mom dying, like all of it turned into cancer. And, you know, I was having a bad night, believe it or not, and I was like, oh, I'll call my girlfriend. Oh, we broke up. Oh, I'll call my mother. Oh. You know, after we buried my mom in our hometown in Mississippi, we drove back to Texas, and I was checking the mail, and the hospital sent my mother a questionnaire to see how her stay at the hospital went. Did not go great. You know, the questionnaire is just, number one, did the nurses explain things in in a way that you can understand. I mean, considering that you had zero brain activity. Number 2, was the area around your room quiet at night? Or could you hear the 12 hours of your daughter crying at your bedside, telling you things she wished she was strong enough to tell you when you were conscious? Number 3, suggestions for improvements. Such as, should we stop sending questionnaires to dead people? It's really not all that hard, hospital. You just made 2 lists. One would just be dead people. The other would be alive people. You send questionnaires to alive people. You don't send questionnaires to dead people. They cannot read your questionnaires. Up, 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 up. No questionnaires to dead people. So guys, whoever's just wishing I would tell these going down the 405. I'm sorry, I can't. But you know, you can always rest assured that the Lord will never give you more than you can handle. Never. Like, when you've had it, he's like, okay, that's enough. But then there is my case, where the angels are literally standing back going, God, what are you doing? You cannot do that. And God's just like, no. I think she can handle this. God is insane. And guys, again, in the equation of humor, I'm not tragedy right now. That's just where I am in the equation. And I really don't mean to bum you guys out. You guys are like, but we came here for a comedy show. You probably should have stayed at home. But what if right now I just transitioned into silly jokes? No, I want to hear more bad news. Oh, well now I kind of feel bad because that's all the tragedy I have to share. Like, I'm honestly all tapped out. I felt like I needed to say it, you know, like I couldn't come here and tell normal jokes. And I really do appreciate you guys barreling through it with me. And I want you all to know that I'm very well taken care of. But I'm gonna check on you guys. I'm worried about how you're gonna take all of this. But maybe before I go, if there's a topic you guys want to hear a joke about, tell the B joke. Okay. So I was driving here today, and there was a lot of traffic. You know, I'm sitting there, still sitting there. My car had moved in several minutes. You know, my window's down, and then a bee passes me. Do you realize how frustrating it is when a bee passes you in 5 o'clock traffic? And because what is the bee doing taking the 405 in the first place? Anyways, thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. Yay, cancer. That's the best response I've ever got. I guess God was right. I can totally handle so much more.
Costume change, and they're going to come out and do what's called Interpreters Theater, which is an ensemble event, and it's a program, it's a compilation. And this ensemble event explores a theme, and it uses a variety of literature. There's material that is from stories, from prose, there's a lot of drama, some film scripts, some plays, there's original material, there's things directly from web postings and forums and that sort of thing, and there's song lyrics. So it's quite a mixed bag, and it all kind of works together in a happy mishmash of things. And they'll be changing and coming out and doing the last activity. And you'll see that as an ensemble, they create a whole new energy when they perform together. One thing I'll say is that we really appreciate your coming out tonight. This is our last performance before we go and represent MCC at the national level. And it's the most exciting time for the students. We all stay together for 1 week under one roof, And it's basically like an Olympic village for communicators, for young people who have talent and passion and ideas and like to impact audiences and be impacted by messages and current events and just, you know, what's in their hearts. And they get a chance to have their voice. And that's, those of you that are my students here tonight, how many of you are my students here tonight? Show of hands. Okay, so you know that's my philosophy, right? This is, communication is about the voice and amplifying that voice and valuing it and being heard and impacting other people through it. So that is what we're all about. When we go and represent MCC in California, realize that in the community college world, yeah, there you go. Woo, says Bob. He's fired up, ready to go. He's going to be our technician when we do this event in Nationals. We won't have our technical equipment until we get there, so he's got a little rest right now. But when we get out there, California schools, there'll be about 27 of them. There'll be 9 Illinois colleges because the community college system is huge in California. Cue appropriate boo and hiss right now. Okay, yeah, that's how we feel about California. We like to come out there and show them what the Midwest is made of. That we come from a sense of gut and heart and just, you know, integrity and authenticity with who we are and what we have to say. They might be a little flashy and a little Hollywood glitzy, but we like to feel that we've got that Midwestern heart and Midwestern sensibility. So we are the second largest state that will be represented at the college level next week. Okay, all right, for our last event, please welcome the ensemble ICE.
It has been said that magic vanished from our world a long time ago. To those who have lost the wondrous vision of childhood eyes, submitted here is a story of a little boy and a magical Christmas wish that changed his life forever.
Childhood.
John longed with all his heart for that one true friend he could call his own. Well, as it does every year, Christmas morning finally came.
Wow!
I guess Santa paid attention to how good you were this year, huh?
I love you.
He talks! I'm gonna name you Teddy.
I love you.
I love you too, Teddy, you know? I wish you could really talk to me because then we can be best friends forever and ever.
Now, if there's one thing you can be sure of, it's that nothing is more powerful than a young boy's wish. As it turns out, John picked the perfect night to make a wish.
When you wish upon a star.
Teddy?
Hug me.
Did you just talk?
You're my best friend, John.
You're alive!
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Don't look so surprised. You're the one that wished for it, aren't you?
I guess I did make the wish for it.
Well, here I am.
You mean we're gonna be best friends? For real?
For real.
Forever and ever?
Sounds good to me.
The fantastical world of fiction brings us stories where things can happen beyond the realm of reality.
Yeah, even a talking teddy bear named Ted can grow up to be unbearable.
You really?
It was so late.
But there's no better partner to play for a kid than an imaginary friend.
The imaginary companion experience, or ICE, may make for fun movie plots, but it's a real experience. Mine is the bong-smoking teddy bears, of course.
I love you.
It begins in childhood, during a time when children are extremely creative in their invention of imaginary friends, giving them
Curious names like Bing Bang Banana
That was
Puss.
about 3,000.
Odd details.
such as ears as big as elephants.
Or elephants as big as ears. And strange characteristics.
It's like being a five-time World Igloo Building champion. Woo!
In this Interpreter's Theater, we will illustrate how the imaginary companion experience spans all ages from childhood
Through adolescence.
You don't know me!
And into
adulthood.
Bro.
Bro.
Grow up already.
Despite the most benign nature of the imaginary companion experience,
Or ice.
imaginary companions are always under the threat of exile,
Man, that's cold.
much like ICE.
This program understands that there's a spectrum where healthy imagination can be replaced by harmful mental illness.
However, we maintain that banishing imaginary companions that are harmless is a threat to the right to have creative indulgences.
and subsequently the benefits these type of indulgences offer.
Like more highly developed. What if thinking? Give me an I! Give me a C! Give me an E! What does that spell? Ice!
Hey guys, why am I always the I?
Oh, because...
Pros! Some days at Tiffany.
Oh, by James Patterson and Gabriella Charbonnet.
Web postings from the I Have Imaginary Friends Experience Project. Drama.
B.I.S. by Jennifer Morse!
Hate her.
Boy Meets World.
By Ellen Idelson and Rob Lauderstein.
Calvin.
And Hobbs.
by Bill Watterson.
Harvey.
By Mary Chase.
Hearts
And Souls!
By Gregory Hansen.
Hearts and Souls!
Revisited.
By Mary Grazer. Ted.
By Seth MacFarlane.
And you're hired.
By John
The
Roberts.
rest of you, you're fired.
Oh.
Lyrics. When you wish upon a star. By Lee Harline and Ed Washington.
Personal Jesus.
By Depeche Mode.
The Friends theme song.
By the Rembrandts.
Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
By Queen. Why can't we be friends?
Oh my gosh, stinks.
And the Cheers theme song. Cheers by Gary Portnoy.
Judy Hart Angelo.
Factual.
Imaginary Companions. And the children who create them.
Children.
By Marjorie Taylor.
Imaginary Friends, a Scientific American article by Vigneola Butler and Cynthia Pickett.
The Imaginary Companion Experience in Adults.
By Lino Ficini.
Imaginary Companions, a transcript of the roundtable discussion hosted by the Philip Tedder Center for the Multidisciplinary Study of the Imagination.
For some people, half the day is spent in imagination.
A New York Times article by Daniel Coleman.
ICE.
Ice, 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 baby. Ding, ding, ding.
A program.
According to psychiatrist Dr. Ralph Alson,
Imaginary Companion.
Can be created consciously and voluntarily.
Leaving many parents to wonder.
If having an imaginary companion is a red flag.
Even though many parents may worry, having an imaginary companion can have some real benefits.
You look down in the dumps.
I am. Mo keeps knocking me down at school for no reason. I sure am glad you're an animal. Animals sometimes make a lot more sense than people do.
And we're cuter too.
Right, Hobbs. Good point. Sab, you should come to school with me and show Mo a little thing, okay? I don't need you to kill him or anything. I just give him something to think about. Wait, surgery.
Hey Calvin, why'd you bring your stuffed tiger to school?
Hobbs is gonna give Mo a little treat today.
Yeah, how's he gonna do that?
If you have an aversion to descriptions of carnage, you probably don't want to know.
Talking to you is kind of the conversational equivalent of an out-of-body experience.
look, Calvin's got a teddy bear. That's real sweet, Cal.
It's a tiger, you brainless vertebrae.
Maybe I'd like to play with your teddy.
Good idea, Mo. Hobbs plays kind of rough, but he's lots of fun. Take him.
Why? Is there a teacher watching? This is a trick, right? I'm not touching your stupid teddy.
Come on, wait, you scared, you chicken? Boy, you sure scared him off. You were great.
Come back and call me a bear again, yeah, you bump! Professor Susan Harder and Christian Chow at the University of Denver found that boys tend to create imaginary companions that were more competent.
Yeah, you bump.
And girls, on the other hand, were more likely to create imaginary companions that were particularly incompetent.
I told myself that when I turned 10, I would get rid of her. But I just kept thinking,
It's time to grow up. I'm getting too old for this. But I'll keep my Barbies, they're okay. But here's the thing.
my imaginary friend needs me. I give her advice.
Like how to be the coolest imaginary friend.
So that all the boys pick her first for imaginary dodgeball.
And she had no idea how many Lit Snackers flavors there were before I came along. I'm getting tired of making sure no one sits on her nuts and cracks.
And Mom's getting real mad about making 2 lunches every day. She barely even eats hers anyway.
She's watching her weight.
But I think it's time to tell her.
I'm taking the bus alone tomorrow. I don't want you to be my imaginary friend anymore. Wait. I'm not your imaginary friend. You're my imaginary friend. What?
Contrary to common belief, imaginary companion researcher Marjorie Taylor reports that children with imaginary companions are more social and outgoing.
You can be my friend. You can be my friend. And yeah, you can be my friend too.
And are more advanced in their ability to show empathy and take on the perspective of another.
Are you okay? You look sad.
In fact, Taylor's research shows that children who create imaginary companions use more future tense and the subjunctive in their language.
There's an ordering, and the subjunctive represents.
What if?
It could be.
There's a realm of possibility.
Instead of explaining me like right off, I'll start with the world's best, most luscious, and possibly most sinful ice cream sundae. I served the St. Regis Hotel in New York City. It was always the same. 2 fist-sized scoops of coffee ice cream swirled in river pot fudge sauce.
Here you go, hon.
Thank you. Across from me, my table has decor with Michael. Every Sunday afternoon, Michael and I would have dessert at St. Regis, while my mother had coffee with a friend. Michael, who was my best friend in the whole world when I was 8 years old. Maybe my only friend. My imaginary friend.
Children's fantasy play does not suddenly disappear in the middle childhood.
But instead it goes
In
underground.
response to implied disapproval.
An outward discouragement.
Oh, come on! No one is saying that! Dr. Beecham is a child psychiatrist. He's just gonna do some tests.
Tests?
Therapy tests, whatever it is. Everyone says he needs help. He blames everything on these imaginary people. I've been saying for years we should get him proper care, and you know it.
Because he has a vivid imagination?
Stop living in a fantasy world. You can't continue that. You can't play his little
I'm
game.
not losing Thomas.
Penny, look what's going on here. This is wrong. It's gotten way out of hand. Maybe we were never supposed to talk to him or even let him see us.
Harrison, we're his family.
No, we're not his family. He has a mother and a father. It's time to let them be his parents.
Thomas. Thomas, sweetie. Thomas.
What?
Oh, you are such a big boy, Thomas. We love you.
I love you too.
Thomas, you know how we said we don't know how long we're going to be here?
Yeah?
You think the time has come for us to go away?
What? No!
Yeah, buddy, it's going to be a lot better for you.
No, please! I'll do anything you want. I'll pretend you're not here. It'll be a
You
secret!
can't do that, buddy. It doesn't work.
Don't cry, Thomas. We'll be right here watching over you. Just quietly. Grow up and forget about it.
No, I won't! You guys said you're my special friends, and special friends don't leave!
Goodbye, Thomas.
Come back! Please! Don't leave me!
Thomas. Remember that song I used to sing to you? Mr. Huckabee, 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 there. When you're feeling blue and a little bit scared, he'll be right beside you, Mr. Huckabee.
Bear. And a freaking lesson! Surprisingly, invisible companions don't necessarily leave when middle childhood ends.
Dear imaginary friend.
One study that examined the diaries of adolescents
I suck at school. I didn't even know why I go here.
concluded that the more creative adolescents
Dear Rainbow, I drifted off into our world again.
were the ones most likely to create an imaginary friend.
Dear Ernie Bernie, my parents are divorced.
Dear Miss Bob, my friend told me she's been talking to an older man.
Dear Sparkles, I got a 24 on my ACT. Now getting to my favorite college.
Dear Third, I wish I could be as brave as
Dear
you.
Pancake Patterson, I got rejected again by a girl because I'm too short.
Do you hear me?
You hear
Do
me?
you hear me?
Do you hear me?
Dear...
I just ended it all.
Are you there?
Are you there?
Are you there?
Are you there?
Are you there? In a roundtable discussion at the New York Philocteta Center for the Imagination,
Prominent child psychiatrists compared religious belief systems to the imaginary companion experience.
It's another area where you might find yourself talking to an invisible presence.
Such as God.
Or Jesus.
your own personal Jesus.
Someone to hear your prayers. Someone who's
There, reach out and touch faith.
In addition to reaching out to religious figures, a Scientific American article, Imaginary Friends, points to another area that can be compared to the imaginary companion experience. Specifically, it's our tendency to rely on what the article called social surrogates. Social surrogates are characters that we might see on TV.
I'll be there for you.
It seems that as we get older, our busy lives leave us less time for play. So, just as friendship evolves through spending time, a social surrogate is consistently available at the same time on the same channel from week to week.
I'll be there for you, 'cause you've been there for me too.
Oh, I don't think so.
Loser. Thomas is really struggling as a teenager. We've got to go to him.
I don't know, it was so hard to leave him last time. And I'm not sure he can handle seeing us again.
Thomas!
Thomas! We've missed you so much.
We're here for you, Thomas.
Go away. I don't need friends who leave me.
Thomas, my baby boy, my puppy love baby.
I'm not your boy, and I don't believe in baby stuff anymore. Leave me alone.
Thomas!
Who am I kidding? I don't belong in college. Come on, Eric, you can do this. Just relax and focus. Columbus, Cortez, Marco. Come on, you can do this. Marco!
Hold up.
Marco.
Hold up.
Mr. Feeney, what are you doing here?
I've come here to help you.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, Jack, you remember my mentor, Mr. Feeney?
Yes, I do. Who are you talking to?
You can't see me. Only you can see me. And only you can see me because I exist in only your imagination.
Okay, so why are you here?
To take you to the library. You need to study, and I'm here to help you.
That makes sense. Could you just hold on for just a second? Jack?
Yeah?
Hey, buddy, quick question. Feeney or no Feeney?
No Feeney.
Hey, buddy, guess who got a B in history?
You're kidding me. How did you get a B?
Feeney, thanks.
That's right, your invisible mentor guy. Come on, you got a secret. Let me in.
No secret, it's Feeney. I believed in him. He helped me. I got a good grade.
Mr. Feeney? Mr. Feeney, are you here, sir? It's me, Jack, Eric's friend. Look, I know you're not my mentor, but I just got beat by Eric on a test. That's just plain wrong.
Jack, who are you talking to?
Hey, Eric, quick question. Feeney or no Feeney?
No Feeney.
When this boy meets world.
Adulthood. A strange part of the imaginary companion experience is this sense of not being able to get the imaginary companion to do what you want them to do.
And then she just laughed.
So me and my husband, we have an imaginary friend. We like to call him Mr. Hides-It. He's always taking stuff from us and hiding it in weird places, like this one time. He took my keys and hid them in the freezer. So next thing you know, my husband's favorite tie is underneath the washing machine. Mr. Hides-It is such a pain in the you-know-what. We're always trying to do things to get him to leave, like this one time. We even took him to a homeless shelter. But he found his way back and threw away my husband's dirty, ripped-up old baseball cap. Can you imagine?
Are adults with imaginary companions crazy?
Of course
Yes,
they are.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Clinically speaking, the answer is no.
Really?
Wow, that's something.
How many of you here have had an imaginary friend? Raise your hands.
That's okay. Like Devin and I, you probably just don't remember them yet.
But if you've ever prayed to an invisible presence or been surrogate friends with friends,
Then you have indulged in the same type of imaginative process.
that is the imaginary companion experience. Another interesting aspect of the imaginary companion experience is the illusion of independent agency, something well known to fiction writers. Many who claim that their characters take on a life of their own.
Having an imaginary companion in adulthood is more like letting another, with different degrees of autonomy, under your skin.
Which has a degree of danger.
But not as dangerous as, say, falling in love.
23 years later, the St. Regis was the perfect place to go, and I was hanging on by a thread. The luscious spoonful brought everything rushing back to when I was 8 years old. Was that really the last time I actually felt happy? I took another bite and then, what? That man! It couldn't be. Michael?
Jane?
You're here. How can this be happening?
Jane, honestly, I have no idea. I'm just here waiting for my next assignment.
So that's not her?
You of all people don't have to ask that. You know what I do, and it isn't with adults. Then come out where
I have a little questions about this friend thing.
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of answers. I wish I did, Jane.
Then I asked Michael something even more personal that I was dying to know. Have you ever been involved with anyone romantically?
I meet people. I like people, Jane. All kinds of people.
And I bet they like you. We walked and talked for hours and finally ended up at the entrance to my building. Michael leaned in close. His face is only an inch or so from mine. I'd never seen him so close. And he suddenly pulled away, almost as if we were afraid of something. I miss you already, I whispered. To nobody.
So, I lost my job recently. Due to budget cuts, not my imaginary friends. And I'm starting to realize I like being home alone a little too much. When my boyfriend comes home from work, I find myself resenting him and wishing he would just go away so that I could play in my head with my imaginary friends. But I did a bit of Googling and I found this forum, and I'm hoping to get some help because there really doesn't seem to be too much information out there regarding adults with this particular coping mechanism. I'm hoping to reach out there and share with others and just get all of these made-up monkeys off my back. Imagination and fantasy. Are those the same, or are they different? Imagination expands our reality. Fantasy distances us from reality.
Distinguished adults, such as MacArthur Genius Grant and Nobel Prize winners, were more likely than the general population to have an imaginary companion experience, or ICE.
Ice. You know what forgets you guys? Ding, 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 ding. Yeah! Many of these distinguished adults have reported that their active fantasy lives directly correlates to the achievements that they've had in the field, such as the arts, the sciences, and business! Thank you guys all for coming. As you all know, this is the last interview for the position as my personal assistant. Congratulations on making it this far, but as you all know, sadly, there is only one position left. So, I'm assuming you all excel and excel. Are very punctual.
Always
Have open time schedules.
Oh, of course.
Have imaginary friends.
You're kidding me, right?
Well, not all of us can be successful as MacArthur Genius Grant and Nobel Prize winners. Oh, I'm so relieved to be with fellow Imaginees. So, what are your characters' names? You!
Oh, mine is Rosewood.
Oh yeah, well I have two imaginary friends, and they're twins.
That's kid stuff. My imaginary friend isn't even human.
No, I don't know.
Shut up, Rosewood. This doesn't concern you.
You're hired!
People who have imaginary companions and maintain them through adulthood.
Expressed what the New York Times called the fantasy-prone personality.
These adults have highly active imaginations.
That is not only harmless,
But are actually beneficial to their psychological well-being.
Thomas is dying. We've got to go to him.
Are you sure we should? His mind is so faded, he doesn't even recognize his own family.
It doesn't matter, Mom. We have to be with him.
Thomas, you're not alone. We're here for you.
We're here to say goodbye, Thomas.
We never left you. Even when you couldn't believe in us, we believed in you.
Penny? Harrison? You came. I know my time is coming. Am I going where you are?
No, Thomas, but you're gonna be all right without us. The angels are gonna take you under their wings and carry you into heaven.
There's only one more thing I want before I go. Penny, please.
Mr. Huckabee, 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 yeah. When you're feeling blue and a little bit scared, he'll be right beside you, Mr. Huckabee.
Where everybody knows your name, bum, 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 and they're always glad you came.
Harvey and I sit in the bars and have a drink or two, play the jukebox. and soon the faces of all the other people, they turn toward mine and they smile. And they come over and then I introduce them to Harvey.
How did you happen to call him Harvey?
Oh, there was a rather interesting coincidence on that. He said, "What name do you like?" Well, I said Harvey. And he said, "What a coincidence. My name happens to be Harvey." and they leave impressed, having met a 6-foot rabbit. The same people seldom come back, but that's envy. There's a little bit of envy in the best of us. That's too bad, isn't it?
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
I want to thank you folks for coming out tonight, and we will go off to California with your good vibes and your great support. Thank you so much. Any students here for extra credit that aren't my students, I will go ahead and sign off on your programs. Thank you.